This is Chapter 16, Social and Personal Development in Middle Adulthood. For your social and personal development, adults enter into what Erikson believed to be a period when attention turns into a creation of a legacy. Adults officially enter into the generative versus stagnation stage. Generativity is a sense that one is making a valuable contribution to society by bringing up children or mentoring young people. There was a study in 2000 that found that generativity is positively related to satisfaction in life, work, and emotional well-being. Vaillant's revision of Erikson's theory, Vaillant argued that there is a stage between intimacy and generativity called career consolidation. The outcome of this is a creation of a new social network for middle adults, and the involvement helps individuals meet psychosocial needs. He also argued that there is a stage after generativity versus stagnation called keepers of the meaning. In this stage, middle adults focus on preserving institutions and values from their culture that they believe will benefit future generations. So it could be religious, or focusing on educational institutions, historical societies, or political organizations, whatever they feel is important. For your midlife crisis, Levinson argued a person must confront difficult tasks at midlife. So there could be accepting morality, the loss of a parent, recognizing physical or health limitations, adapting a new major role. The stress associated with these events of middle age are role conflicts, which is a situation in which two or more roles are incompatible. There's also role strain, which a person's qualities or skills do not measure up to the demands of one role. Your partnerships, you have marriage, stability, and satisfaction increases in midlife. Your social network changes, so your group of friends may expand a little bit because you and your partner have mutual friends more than you have your friends and their friends. So your group might be a little bigger at this time, but it's more supportive. Skilled diplomacy is an approach for solving problems with confrontation of a spouse and then having that confrontation lead to restoring harmony. Research suggests that in middle age, women are better able to cope with divorce than younger women. So if a woman is deciding to stay married through their 20s or 30s for the children they're raising, once the children grow up and they get divorced, they find that there's less problems with divorce, and it's quite simple. You're also a caregiver in this stage of life, so you can either take care of your elderly parents, your adult children, or even sometimes both. Those who take care of both adult children and elderly parents are multi-generational caregivers, so they give care to both ends of their generational chain. A study of the US and the UK show that 1/3 of women in their 50s are multi-generational caregivers. Women who are caregivers for their elderly parents experience more depression and lower marital satisfaction than women who are similar age and social class as them. Caregivers can also experience caregiver burden, which is just negative effects from caring for an elderly or disabled person. Becoming a grandparent is a big midlife event. Most grandparents welcome their first grandchild by 50. There was a study that 92% of grandparents express high levels of satisfaction in this role. So there are 3 types of relationships you can have with your grandchild. Remote relationships, where you don't really see your grandchild that often. Compassionate relationships, where you see them like maybe once or twice a month. So it's not as spread out as a remote, but it's still not super close, but you still have a great relationship. Then there's the involved relationship where you see your grandchild basically every day, and you're involved in the decision-making process of everything that involves your grandchild. About 8% of children in the U.S. have lived with one or more grandparents. Recently, 11% of grandparents have full-time responsibilities of a grandchild for 6 months or longer. This could be for a number of reasons. One reason could be the mother of the child is unmarried and needs her parents to watch her child while she is in school or working. Your friends group, the total number of friends that you have is smaller than when you were in your young adulthood.
Right, you can go back out there.
But you also know that your friends are more supportive of you in this stage. The more frequent interaction you have with your friends drops. You don't need your friends around all the time to know that you guys have a close relationship. Community and change in a personality. So again, you bring back the big 5 concept: openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, neuroticism, and agreeableness. In this stage of life, openness, extroversion, and neuroticism decline, while agreeableness and conscientiousness increase up until around age 70, and then it starts to slowly decline. Overall, your personality is basically the same. This is an important contribution to middle age because your personality helps manage stress. Work satisfaction. At middle age, you're less likely to experience burnout, which is just a lack of energy in work. Developmentalists have suggested that middle-aged workers who avoid burnout in high-stress professions rely less on external sources of job satisfaction. Men and women have the same sources of dissatisfaction in a job, whether it be time pressure, difficult coworker, boring tasks, or a fear of losing a job. The way they handle these things are a little different. Women tend to be more shut off, while men will confront a supervisor or a coworker directly. Despite the way that they handle these situations, men and women have a greater sense of control over their job than they did when they were younger. For job performance, you get into Paul and Margaret Blate's process called selective optimization with compensation. So the selection part is you narrow down the range of activities you want to do. So I focus on one task that I'm really good at that I want to do. Optimization is your deliberate exercise on crucial abilities. And then compensation is you adopt pragmatic strategies to overcome specific obstacles. Unemployment. So in this, employers really believe that young adults are more capable of learning new things than middle adults are. So then that pushes you into career changes. There are 2 types of career changes: involuntary and voluntary career changes. Involuntary career changes you are looking for a new job because of external reasons. People who are suffering involuntary career changes have higher levels of anxiety or depression and physical illness. Reemployment usually seems to restore a person's health back to normal within a few months. Voluntary career changers are people who want to change from one career to another for internal reasons. People who voluntarily change careers suffer from a honeymoon hangover effect. So they're super excited about a job for a little while, and then all of a sudden, this is the worst job they've ever done. They don't want to do it anymore, which involves more frequent job changes. Preparing for retirement. In the 80s and 90s, a study suggested that people begin to prepare for retirement up to 15 years prior to retiring. And even when they retire, they don't fully go from working full-time to full retirement. They have bridge employment, which is working in something that was similar to what you retired from, but less stressful. The 5 approaches to non-work pursuits are wealth builders, who are people who intend to spend their spare time doing things to make money and build up the wealth that they already have. Anxious idealists would like to give their money to charity, but they realize that they don't have the funds to do so. Empowered trailblazers expect to spend time traveling, doing volunteer work, but they're not financially secure enough to meet this. Stretched and stressed, they know that they're in financial trouble and they are trying to get their way out of it. Leisure lifers are people who intend to spend most of their retired life doing recreational things, and they intend to retire in their mid-50s. Fewer than half the people who retire have enough money to do what they want to do, and it's believed that baby boomers are the healthiest, best educated, and longest living retirees in history, and they are likely to change ideas about both preparing for retirement and retirement itself.